Live slow, live it up, watching time go. Planning moves, things solid to this cheat code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Live slow, live it up, watching time go. Making moves, things solid to this cheat code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. This how it is, the mission's Benjamins. And fuck the drama and the bullshit, we ain't little kids. My circle small, but my riders heart, they never quit. Get your money, keep it gangsta, solid, straight legit. Never switch like the real ones that die for this. It's fucked up, but this is truly how it is. I hope you're ready if you're picking this like full of sin. No turning back, I represent my Vato to the end. Fuck the fakes and the snakes and everyone that hates. I'm not phased, I won't break, bitch, I'll never.
You are now watching M.O.D Entertainment.
What's good, my G-Life? Now this right here is beautiful Killer Cali, and today we'll be bouncing around from several locations covering all Lakers Varrios. That's all the lake Varrios, you know what I mean? Lakers is a common term that they use to describe their neighborhood. So all lake Varrios, so you know, with the lake title in them. So with no further ado, let's get into it. And starting off right here in West Los Angeles. Yes, West LA is home to one of these lake neighborhoods. As a matter of fact, this neighborhood is oftenly one of the more recognizable and at the same time not recognizable barrios, which is the barrio SL, Varrios, Silver Lake 13. Now, why do I say the most recognized but not recognized? Is because it is recognized because of the Chicano rapper, Mr. Criminal. You know, that used to be from high power, but now he's from crime family. He's got his own thing going on. Go check out his music. You know, a lot of talent. You know, talented individual pushing it for the Chicano, movement and all of that. Definitely has a lot of skills. You know, you might like his rolas. He has rolas with like Exhibit and Lazy Bone, Busy Bone, and all of them. But this is the barrio in which, he's from, and he definitely puts it on the map for them and all of that. But at the same time, a lot of people don't know that the area of Silver Lake actually has gangs, you know what I mean? Because due to the fact that through the years, it's been gentrified and all of that. But I have always said this, don't ever get it twisted. Don't judge a book by its cover. Just because it looks nice doesn't mean that it is nice. You get what I mean? Not only that, but when people keep this in mind about these areas, just how the area looks now doesn't mean that that's how the area has always looked or has always been. Because, often I hear people say, it's a nice area right there. How could gangs possibly exist? And whoop-de-whoop-de-wah. Well, you got to keep this in mind. The area hasn't always been like that. You know what I mean? It slowly started changing as the times. But not only that, but just because it looks nice doesn't mean that homies ain't, still there and doing their thing. You know what I mean? Don't ever get it twisted. Like I said, judging a book by its cover, my boy, that could be your downfall. Because the Varrio Silver Lake is a real barrio that has been around since the 80s when it was established. And this barrio was established right there on Silver Lake Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard. So throughout, all that in, although the territory is not that large, nonetheless, homie, it's still their neighborhood where they run it. And like I said, this barrio, was known to do their thing. At least from what I was told, there was roughly, 60 to more members. You know what I mean? Potentially even up to 100, from what I was told. Throughout that whole entire area, on Silver Lake and Sunset and Vendome Street. I think that's how you pronounce that street. So throughout all those back ends, and it's the danger zone because you have so many barrios right there, like La Mirada, you got the 18th streets, you got all kinds of neighborhoods, within the area, you got the Echo Parks. It be getting chaotic right there, homie. It definitely be cracking it. And I know they do feud heavily with La Mirada Locos. I know that there's heavy, beef between them. I know that they don't beef it with all the gangs, within the area because at least from what I was told, is that they had a pretty good relationship with the people from Echo Park. They used to party and shit like that. But it does get treacherous, like I said right here, homie. It definitely be cracking. And go peep out their music. They do have Mr. Criminal. He's not the only one from this barrio that raps. You do have Listo and Ese Villain, who I do recommend their albums as well. Ese Villain definitely has a lot of talent. Peep him out. Talented individual that puts it down for the Silver Lake gang. And Silver Lake is known to have several cliques like the Dukes and etc. So they do have several cliques to them. So like I said, despite what you hear, 15-man gang, 20-man gang, that's all hatred, that's all haters. From what you can see, obviously they're more than that, and they were known to do their thing and still put it down and hold it down for the area of now, as we maneuver our way to the east side area, the close to Nella, we have another one of these lake barrios within this area, and in the midst of the danger zone right here within this area, because in this area it gets treacherous because of the amount of gangs that you have within this area. You have so many neighborhoods from Lincoln, from Happy Valley, from East Side Clover. You have so many different vitals right here, definitely be popping, and there's no breathing room. They're all like literally back to back, homie. So it's like you get no breathing room, within this area. And this is home to one of these lake barrios, which is known as the Barrio East Lake Locos, or Barrio East Lake. You know what I mean? And the Barrio East Lake is an old school barrio already that has been already established within this area, at least from what I was told, since roughly around the 70s. And it does have, more than 100 members to it, at least from what I was told. And this is another recognizable barrio due to the fact that the Chicano rapper, R.I.P. Triste Loco from High Power, this is the barrio in which he was from. Sadly, he passed away due to, I think, cancer. But you could check out his music still right here on YouTube. I'm pretty sure that his family gets the royalties and everything. He had several albums. And this is the barrio in which he was from. He was from the Barrio East Lake. You know what I'm saying? And the Barrio East Lake obviously get their name after East Lake Avenue, that stretches throughout their barrio. And their territory is pretty extensive, bro. Right here within the area of Lincoln Heights. Their territory is everything from Minnesota Street. I would say Minnesota Street. Their territory still extends all the way to Griffin Avenue. Griffin Avenue, their territory still goes all the way to Valley Boulevard. And from Valley Boulevard, their turf still goes all the way to Lincoln Park Avenue. And from Lincoln Park Avenue all the way to Thomas Street and back around. So everything that's in the middle is considered their barrio. So throughout Broadway, throughout Baldwin Street as well, throughout Barbie Street, throughout Darwin, throughout Main Street. All of that is what's considered their barrio, you know what I mean? Throughout Johnson Street, Hancock, East Lake, like I said, that go through their neighborhood. That's everything that's considered their barrio. Right there close to the Gate Street Elementary as well. It's what's considered the Barrio East Lake. And they have been already right there, like I said, for a cool minute. And like I said, it gets chaotic, homie, because you got so many different barrios right here within this area. It definitely be popping, homie, you know what I mean? Their territory, you could also find them right there on the Ella Park, East LA Park, Ella Park, right there where the dividers are at, close to like what's East Lake and George Street. That is also, where you can find them doing their thing and holding it down and continue to still hold it down for their barrio, you know what I mean? Because they're still right there active and doing their thing for the barrio East Lake, locals holding it down. Another barrio that you have that uses the lake title, but this one being a little bit different, only due to the fact that it was its own individual gang when it first was coming up, but then since then became a clique off of another barrio. But in order to find this neighborhood, we have to make our way to the 818 Valley, my home. Right here in the 818, yes, San Fernando Valley, home to one of these neighborhoods. And for this area, we actually have to make our way down to the area of Lakeview Terrace. Very few people actually know about the area of Lakeview Terrace because they consider it Pacoima, but it's not. It's Lakeview Terrace. It's its own, different. But people associated with that. Now, the Barrio Lakeview Terrace, yes, is home to a barrio. It is home to the Barrio LVT, Barrio Lakeview Terrace. You know what I mean? It is a real neighborhood that roughly started around the late 80s, early 90s when this neighborhood was established. It was a small neighborhood, close to the Handsome Dam Park. Their territory was right there on Sunburst Street. That is where they were doing their thing, you know what I mean? And holding it down, definitely for their set. And they always had a good relationship with the Violent Boys gang, some very violent boys, you know what I mean? They had family members and, they were cool. And they both beefed it with they both had the same adversary. You know what I mean? Which was the Pacoima gangs. Because people always wonder, how is it that the Violent Boys gang got a clique named Lakeview Terrace? Because since then, the Lakeview Terrace became a clique off of the Violent Boys gang. You know what I mean? But since Sun Valley and Lakeview Terrace are far away from each other, well, not that far away, but are a distance from each other, people were like, well, how did that happen? Well, due to the fact that they were family members and everything like that, it had the same adversary, it benefited the Lakeview Terrace just to become a clique off of the Violent Boys gang. So since then, they became a clique off of the Violent Boys gang. So it's now Sun Valley Violent Boys, you know, the Lakeview Terrace as their clica. But yes, it did originally start as its own, you know, separate neighborhood. You know, roughly, from what I was told when it first started, it was roughly a few, you know, like 20 to 30 members. And since then are still active and still maintain and hold it down for theirs. You know what I mean? Don't ever get it twisted. Yes, Violent Boy still has a presence right there and hold it down for that side and their clique and still representing. You know what I mean? You obviously seen the Violent Boys making the news and headlines and everything like that. So yes, this Varrio is still active. Is still holding it down right here for their side. And this is where you can still find the Varrio Lakeview Terrace, you know, Sun Valley Violent Boys. Now, for these next Varrios, we actually have to travel down to the area of the Inland Empire. Yes, the Inland Empire is home to these Lake Varrios. Now, for this one, we actually have to make our way down to the area of Lake Elsinore. Yes, despite what individuals want to say, because I have gotten into many arguments with individuals on here saying there's no gangs in Lake Elsinore, for you tripping, it's nice. Oh man, this fool don't know what he's talking about. Whoop-de wah. My boy, you could hate it, you could love it. My boy, whatever floats your boat, homie. I never come to invent, make up shit, or none of that, my boy. These are real fucking neighborhoods, you know what I mean? You can say what you want, homie. It don't change the facts. Facts are facts. Yes, Lake Elsinore is home to Varrios. Like I said, they could literally exist anywhere. Anyone that's familiar with the Lake Elsinore area, yes, it's beautiful. It's nice. You know what I mean? It's lovely. But it also gets treacherous. You know what I mean? So I even put in some reports right here, you know, for those non-believers. They do put in work, homie. You know what I mean? They do put theirs on the map. And we'll be starting off with the largest one out of the two, which is the Varrio EYC. EYC translating to Varrio Elsinore Young Classic. You know what I mean? Varrio Lake Elsinore Young Classic. It is the largest one out of, you know, the neighborhoods right here in Lake Elsinore. The more recognizable one, obviously, you know, when individuals think about this area. And due to for that fact, and don't think that it's all lovely right here, that they don't have any enemigos or whatever, because they do. You know what I mean? They have other Varrios within the area, like a lot of Crips. There's a lot of Crips here. There's a lot of Crip gangs right here. You know what I mean? From the Park Gangster Crips to the I forgot what was the name of the Four Corner Hustler Cribs. There you go. So it cracks right here, and right here, right where the lake is at. You know what I mean? Right where Lake Elsinore is at, because Lake Elsinore, obviously, you know, named after the beautiful lake that's right there. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that's been to the area, knows what I'm talking about. And the Young Classics neighborhood is very extensive. You know, they already been right here since the 80s, been holding it down. Roughly more than 100 members to this barrio throughout its history, from what I was told. And they're everything that's from Adams Avenue to Lakeshore Drive. Lakeshore Drive, the territory still extends all the way to where the canal runs, even past that, all the way to Main Street. And then from Main Street all the way to Flint Street. So everything that's in the middle is their Varrio. And I do understand that the Crips in their neighborhood overlaps each other, because they do got to share it. That's how it is. So that's everything that's from Summers Avenue, Held Avenue, Granham Avenue, Lewis Street, all of that is Townsend, Davis Street, Porter Street. All of that is what's considered the Young Classics Varrio, you know what I mean? And this is a real notorious neighborhood that's been putting it down for this area. These guys ain't no suckers, despite what individuals want to say. They get it on and cracking, homie. You know what I mean? You come thinking it's all lovely. You know, it ain't gonna go down like that. And this is the neighborhood that's been putting it down for the area, for the Varrio Lake Elsinore Young Classic. The next Varrio that we have within the Lake Elsinore area, this is the next one in line. Not as large as its the other Lake Elsinore neighborhood, but nonetheless, homie, still a real Vato that been doing, you know, right here, big thanks for their Vato and holding it down, which is a Vato Elsinore Vatos Locos. Elsinore Vatos Locos Yes, a real neighborhood. And it has no relationships to the other Vatos Locos gang. I have already made a video covering all Vatos Locos neighborhood. And yes, this is home to one of these neighborhoods. Because I know that it's a common name used, but they're all different barrios, have no connection to each other. It's just the coincidence of the name, but that's about it. You know what I mean? Because they're all their own individual hoods. And this one being a little bit more smaller, at least from what I was told, is roughly, it was only about 50 to 60 members to this barrio. So, not as large as obviously the Young Classic. Due to the fact, because of gentrification, they came later on, and territory, and they do their territory does overlap with the Four Corner Hustler Crips as well. So this is one of these areas where the relationship between Hispanics and blacks ain't all that well. That's how it is. You get some pockets that is cool, and get some pockets that it don't. But it's never over race. It's always due to territory and reasons like that. And yes, this is a real neighborhood right here. The Elsinore Vatos Locos. Now their territory stays different from the Young Classics because they're on the opposite side of Lake Elsinore. You know what I mean? On the opposite end is where you're able to find the Vatos Locos. You're able to find their barrio on Lake Crest Drive, all the way to Manchado Street. And from that, I would say all the way to Lakeshore Drive. And from Lakeshore Drive, I would have to say their territory still extends to Riverside Drive. So everything that's in the middle, and I do understand that it overlaps the Crips, that's just how it is their barrio. So everything that's throughout Lincoln Street, everything through Joyce Street, everything from Woodcrest, Parkview, all of that is what's considered their barrio. This is where you're able to find the Vatos Locos. Yes, real neighborhoods still continue to be active, still continue to hold it down right there for theirs, and continue to still put theirs on the map and hold it down for the Lake Elsinore Vatos Locos. Another lake barrio that you have, but this one being another different one, because this one essentially was never its own gang. It was just another clique that people often get confused and think that it's individual neighborhood, but it's not, which is the barrio Eastside Lakewood, or East Side or South Side Lakewood, because they're located on both sides, on the east side of Lakewood and on the south side of Lakewood. But it's not its own individual gang. It is actually a clique to the barrio Artesia. Artesia does have cliques in Lakewood. So yes, Lakewood does have gangs, on the east side and the south side. That's how you see it up, south side Lakewood, or east side Lakewood, or they just consider it the lakeside, you know what I mean? But that's the reason for that, because it's part of the Artesia neighborhood that just branched off over there. Artesia being a large old neighborhood as it is already. They have, homies that move different spots, start recruitment. You already know the get down. But it is not its own individual neighborhood. It is attached to the Arta neighborhood, the Artesia. So that's who they are representing out of the east side and the south side of Artesia, holding it down for the Lakewood. Another barrio that you have right here. Now, these are the out-of-staters, sureños, out of state, obviously, because this neighborhood originated, at least from what I was told, is that it originated out of Oklahoma, but they do have homies in several other locations, Colorado and etc., which is the barrio LVS. LVS standing for Lakeview Sureños, or, soldados as well. And at least from what I was told, is that this neighborhood roughly started around the mid-90s, and that in each location, they're probably only like about 30 to 35 members, so not that large. In a whole, they told me that in a whole, they're probably about 90 to 100 members, so within all those locations. So very small neighborhood, where they're established. But nonetheless, a real neighborhood, that uses the title, Lake, you know what I mean? The Lakeview Sureños, they are used, Laker apparel and all of that. And yes, they are a real Sureño neighborhood and real homeboys that hold it down for theirs and in their sections, you know what I mean? For the Sud, and still continues to put theirs on the map.
Thank you for watching M.O.D Entertainment. Make sure you like and subscribe.